Fight Fiend Forecast. I'm Joseph, the host, and I am back. And sorry I'm late, but I just don't give a fuck. I'm rocking Gucci mink, and that shows confidence. We're back for UFC 308 in Abu Dhabi. 13 fights. Smash the like button. Suplex that subscribe button. We just hit the last 6 locks of the week. And because 2 forecasters really wanted to disagree, my boy Tristan, my boy Babar, they just had an assumption that Michel Pereira was the pick, Tatsuro Terra was the pick. They seem to be disagreeing quite a bit with the locks, the dogs. Maybe they don't appreciate all the work that I've been putting in. So the locks are for Patreon members only, $5 a month. Each and every event, you can see the platinum picks early with the confidence levels, method of victory, and every single bet. You can see the locks this week only if you're in Patreon. $5 a month. Link that Discord ASAP, Randy. And let's get right to it. 13 fights. And I have a lot of picks that I could make a lock of the week. I see a couple underdogs that are barking. The dog of the week, I don't have it ready for you on this show, but I'll give it on the props and parlay show most likely. People that are in the Discord for free just keep on fiending to disagree. So I'm done with that. Thank you, Tristan. Thank you, Babar. Everybody's probably pissed off that you guys are making some questionable decisions. Tatsuro Terra, Michel Pereira, it is what it is. Everybody has their own pick. I'm here to give you my pick on each and every fight, each and every week. Let's see what changes this week. We hit the last 6 locks, the last 3 prelim props, the last 2 dogs. I don't know why you're disagreeing. I don't know what you're doing. But I know what I'm doing on each and every fight. We're going to start it off with the first fight of the night, where the underdog has been barking, and even Austin Lane got the win last week. Holy shit. We're on to something. We're on to something. No doubt about that. Daniel Brooks knows what I'm saying. Now this guy got a ton of notes ready to go for this prelim action. Naurdiev is well experienced. He was in the UFC before and he was let go. He went 2-2 in the UFC, 50%. Each and every fight was a unanimous decision, win or loss. He left the UFC, went to the regional scene, picked up a 4-3 record, and he's lost every one of those fights by finish. 2 of them in the first round. Now we got knocked out to Coetzee, who was a big favorite on Dana White's Contender Series, and he lost as a big favorite. Coetzee did there, and he got knocked out to Coetzee. He got knocked out to another guy on the regional scene. He got submitted. He's been finished by knockout twice. He's been submitted twice. He lost 3 decisions. The other time he did get knocked out. Looking at it here, he was knocked out in round 2 due to leg kicks. So he is very finishable, and I could almost say he could be a quitter. But UFC is bringing him back 4-3. He's obviously looking very good in the regional scene. Not really. Not at all. Getting finished in every single loss. Seems like a spot where they want Bruno Silva to get a win. Bruno Silva lost his last 3 fights. He's 1-4 in his last 5, but his losses. He lost to Chris Weidman due to eye pokes. And that fight didn't even go the full 3rd round. It was halfway through the 3rd round. The eye pokes were too much. Chris Weidman had help from not only the ref, probably the judges. Good for Bruno Silva. He gets a better matchup here where he can get back in the win column. Coming off 3 losses. Looking at his tape, his striking looks sharp. He looks ready to go. And I have to take the underdog in the first fight of the night. I don't know why Ismail Naurdiev is coming back here. He's training in Morocco. He's born Russian. Maybe they needed some EVs, OVs on this card, but, his last fight was 10 months ago. Before that, he got knocked out in the first round to a guy that lost as a big favorite on the Contender Series. He's fighting in Brave FC, former welterweight. He's fought at welterweight in his last 6 fights, 175 pounds. It was a catchweight, not welterweight. But he's formerly fought at 170. This is 185, middleweight fight. Bruno Silva's too big in there come fight day. And he's going to be bigger at the face-offs, I would say, as well. Ismail Naurdiev is undersized. He is finishable. He went 4-3 on the fucking regional scene, getting finished in every single loss. They're bringing him back to get banged up versus Bruno Silva. Silva's going to have success on the feet. He's a former M1 champion. He's on the decline at 35 years old. He's slowing down, but he wants this win more than ever. Losing 3 in a row. I have to take him at plus money. And he's training at Brazilian TKO, which is where Bruno Ferreira is training. But Ronaldo Souza was training there, and he got submitted super easy on Dana White Contender Series. And look at Brenson Ribeiro, 0-2 in the UFC, training at Brazilian TKO. So Bruno Silva, let's see what he can do. He looks good on Instagram from the tape that I've looked at. And when you're looking at both these guys on social media, Ismail has what? I think it is 57,000 followers on Instagram. He's also 7 years younger. And Bruno Silva, on the other side, has 81,000 followers on Instagram. So he's still the more popular fighter. He's a former M1 champion. And I think he can win this fight. He has a loss to Alex Potan Pieda by a decision in Pieda's second ever UFC fight. He has a decision loss recently to Shara Magomedov. He got submitted to Brendan Allen. He got submitted late to Gerard Meerschaert. So all of his losses aren't too bad. He's 4-5 in the UFC. All of his wins in the UFC are by knockout. So if you're looking for a prop, this guy has only won his fights by knockout in the UFC. He has 20 knockouts and only 3 decision wins. Just saying. And he knocked out Brad Tavares. Very durable guy. He knocked out the Beverly Hills Ninja, who went 2-5 in the UFC. 4 losses by finish. And is now caught. So not a big win there. Beverly Hills Ninja Jordan Wright. But he was 12-1 at the time. And before that, he knocked out Wellington Turman, 16-4. About to be cut because he is 3-6 in the UFC. So he beat Brad Tavares. Tough and durable guy. Was able to finish him. Has power in the hands. Is looking sharp on film. I'm picking him to win. First fight of the night. Probably the dog of the week. The underdogs have been barking in the first fight of the night. And I don't know how anyone has confidence in this guy, Ismail Naurdiev, as a favorite. The EV means nothing in this fight. He is not good. And if he wins, it's going to shock me. It's going to surprise me because he should not be the favorite. And the underdog has been winning in the first fight of the night, and it's pretty clear now because Austin Lane just won. But he's a former football player. I'm on here giving you my prediction. It might not be right, but damn, this underdog in the first fight of the night has caught my eye. I gave you a good breakdown, but each and every fight on this card does not need a big breakdown. Just a couple of them. I had some big notes on this fight because I had no clue why this guy was a favorite. Are we really serious here, fiends? We're rocking Gucci Mink. That shows confidence. Take the underdog, Bruno Silva, and lock it in. Dog of the week. Let's go. First fight of the night. We know the chances are fairly high. Hitting at over 70% underdog this year in the first fight. If I'm not mistaken. I think that might be the stat. It's hitting pretty consistently. Even Austin Lane. Holy cow. Next up, Ibo Aslan, and a debuting fighter who did not have to go to the Contender Series because he's 34 years old. Raffael Cerqueira. The Lion. Raffael Cerqueira. 11-0. Training with Jailton Almeida. He's training with Jailton Almeida, and he also is the champion of Demo Fight. And he's also training a bit with Bruno Silva at Brazilian TKO there, potentially. He's been putting in some rounds with Bruno Silva, Jailton Almeida. Jailton Almeida gave him a shout-out, said he deserves the opportunity, but he's 34 years old. His last win was 6-3. Before that, it was 1-1. I don't think he's UFC caliber. I don't even think he deserves a chance. 80% of people in Tapology pick an Ibo Aslan. You have to be silly to not see this clearly because I think Ibo Aslan has proven himself, especially in that rematch fight to Anton Turkalj. It was a 3rd round finish. He extended his power late, He extended the cardio. He still looked good in round 3, round 2. There are some question marks in his game. There are holes in his game, but at this point, against a guy 11-0, the odds are close. It seems sketchy, but Buddy is 34, and I don't think he's UFC caliber. He just knocked out a guy 6-3, 1-1. He's going to be throwing fucking Hail Mary shots at the wind here because I think Ibo Aslan is too technical, too sharp, training at Extreme Couture now. He's definitely having the better game plan going into a fight like this. Jailton Almeida, looking at his fights. Buddy can hardly strike. So he's hyping up a guy that just beat a guy 1-1 by knockout. Obviously, Jailton Almeida thinks this guy's unreal, right? But he does not know how to strike. Dana said he does not want 34-year-olds. Kind of confused why this guy gets a big pay-per-view spot. You see number 1 rated heavyweight Brazil, but this fight is 205. What's he doing fighting at heavyweight? He's a demo fight champion, and Carlos Felipe, former heavyweight, was a champion there, or he at least fought there. Amanda Nunes, former fighter and demo fight club there, down in Brazil. This guy has 3,000 followers on Instagram versus 169,000 for Ibo Aslan. You have to do your research. This Brazilian, he's 11-0, but I don't see any reasoning behind him having a chance or winning this fight. That seems crazy. He does not seem UFC caliber. He has 3,000 Instagram followers. Let's be serious. Ibo Aslan has 169,000 followers. He's getting a big spot here to get a knockout. He's from Turkey, and I expect him to deliver a feast on Saturday night. I'm looking for the knockout prop as well because this guy, Ibo Aslan, has power. 13 wins, 13 knockouts. Let's get it. Hit that prop. Coin flip fight. Seems real sketchy. I don't know what the books are thinking, but look at Brandon Royval's price tag. Way off. Look at the price tag on Alexander Hernandez. Nearly a coin flip. A slight favorite. And he dominated each and every second of that fight after the 30-second mark. So, the bookies aren't as sharp as you think. The Fight Fiend forecast might be sharper. We might be. Not every week. Some weeks, maybe. Some fights, maybe we have an edge. If you want to know if I have an edge on a fight, if my forecasted percentage is higher than the implied probability, like I was telling you last week, we had an edge on some fights, and I proved myself right. If you want to see a significant edge on any fight this week, $5 a month. If you want to see the locks of the week, $5 a month. For each and every event, to see all the picks early, to see all the bets, each and every bet, $5 is not too much to ask. It's a thank you. It's a way to give back to the Fight Fiend forecast. I'm on here giving picks, predictions each and every week. What's $5 a month? 4 events a month. You see the picks early. You see each and every confidence level. You see the forecasted percentage versus the implied probability. And then you know when we have an edge. And then you know when I'm low confidence on a pick and the price is way too high. I could be picking a favorite that is way too big of a favorite, and I could have low confidence in him. If you want to start making real units, I'm not talking 2 units a night. I'm not talking 10 units a month. We're up bigger than that. These big channels saying they're sharp, they pick their spots, single bets, just take an underdog, no parlays. We do it all here. I can parlay, I can single bet, but I pick my spots, and I make sure I hit them when I'm confident, when I have an edge. I've been learning and developing this tool. I'm only going to improve, and it's been out there for a while, and we've been killing it. I guess we're taking a look at another matchup that seems pretty obvious to me. Rinat Fakhretdinov versus Carlos Leal. Leal is 21-5. He has 2 losses to Sadabusi in the PFL, both decision losses, both in the PFL playoffs. He's 3-0 in the LFA, but he probably belongs in the LFA. He won 2 fights in a row. I don't think he's that good. He's a grinder. He pushes forward. He's shredded. He looks good, but he's just a grinder. He's just out here fighting for his family, for his life. I don't think Carlos Leal is a legit, promising prospect. All right, here. You got to know when the UFC's giving a guy a kind of setup fight. I think this is one here. Rinat Fakhretdinov has beaten Brian Battle. Just beat Nicholas Dalby, a veteran of the game. Submitted Kevin Lee, another veteran of the game, round 1 submission. Now, they gave him Michailidis in his debut, the same guy that they gave Alex Potan Pereira in his debut. I think they think very highly of Rinat Fakhretdinov. He's a Russian. This fight card is in Abu Dhabi, where you see a lot of OVs, EVs, and this is the first one after Ismail Naurdiev that I think 100% is safe to parlay, is safe to pick, because he's a much better fighter. He can get the takedowns. He can do enough on the feet. He has 11 knockouts. Hasn't knocked out anybody too high caliber, but he can do enough on the feet to get damage. Have a much better accuracy, higher volume. Statistics really matter in fights like this. You don't even have to look at the 5,000 Instagram followers for Carlos Leal versus the 154,000 Instagram followers for Rinat Fakhretdinov to know that this fight is probably set up for one guy to win. Rinat has way more followers. He has an OV in his last name. Some fights you don't have to get too pretty with. You don't have to think about it too hard. But you have to capitalize when you know they're going to win. Don't be adding parlay pieces that are risky, dangerous. This is one that I think is safe. And there's just no doubt about it. The level of competition that he has beat, having a 2-inch reach advantage, way more Instagram followers. This guy is legit. Rinat Fakhretdinov is one of my favorite fighters on the rise. From Russia, he's not up in Dagestan, he's in Moscow, but he can strike. He can get takedowns. And he can grapple. He's passing the test, and for him to fail versus this guy would be the last of me. Because there's no way. There is no way Leal is winning. There's just no way. Lock it in. Rinat, lock it in. Just do it. This guy's going to get fucked. Probably submitted, but he has 4 decision losses, right? So is he going to get finished? Or is he just going to get mauled by a decision here? He's not standing a chance if he's standing long. He's a grinder. He's tough. 10 knockouts. 9 out of 10 in round 1. He's probably going to gas out in round 2 and 3. Judges aren't going to favor this Brazilian. Go make your money. Let's get it. Farid Basharat versus Victor Hugo is a fight that I'm not betting. I'm not touching. Bantamweight fight, back and forth here between an undefeated fighter who we just seen his brother lose, because they're not that good, versus Victor Hugo, the striker. He can strike, he can grapple, he can do it all. And he has a lot of finish wins. He has a lot of experience. He has way more experience than Farid Basharat. 12-0 Farid Basharat, 25-4 Victor Hugo. I would say take the underdog here, because the odds are so wide. Way too wide. I know they are wrong. This fight could be a 50-50 fight. This fight is basically a 50-50 fight, and Farid Basharat is a 4-1 favorite. Because he's a 4-1 favorite, I'm picking him to win with low confidence, because maybe the books know something I don't. Maybe they seen something that I didn't. But I don't know, man. This does not make sense to me. I'm not betting on him, and I don't think he's that great. He does have a great wrestling game plan. He can wrestle. He can grapple. He can probably get more control time, more takedowns in this fight. He's more seasoned. He's training with the better fighters in the gym. You know, when he's not fighting, he's training hard. He has his brother to train with. He has some other killers to train with, Amir Albazi. He's at Extreme Couture. He's at London Shoot Fighters. He's a very good fighter. 12-0. He's undefeated. I can't pick against him, but I am very worried he's going to get fraud checked to a guy that's fairly new in the UFC, Victor Hugo. He just might have that dog in him. So these are the fights that you leave off. You sit back, you relax, and you enjoy. Because you don't parlay a fighter with a bunch of other favorites you think are likely to win. This right here would be a gamble. Although he's a 4-1 favorite, this fight here is gambling. Rinat Fakhretdinov beating the shit out of Carlos Leal. I don't think that's gambling. That is what should happen. Right? Am I missing something on that fight too? Alright. I don't know. Maybe. I've had some bad picks before like anyone else. I've had some bad weeks. I've lost money on some events. But right now we're on a heater. And I'm telling you, that heater does not end here. And we're not making some questionable picks on this card. I think each and every pick I'm seeing pretty good. Pretty clear with the breakdown here as far as I'm concerned. I'm taking Farid Basharat decision. Very low confidence. If he gets finished, if he gets knocked out, submitted, not surprised. This guy, Victor Hugo, he has crazy techniques at times, and anything can land. Anything can happen. It's mixed martial arts, but I'm not going to lie, he got controlled for 7 minutes in his last fight, and Buddy was debuting. I don't think he's as good as everybody else may think. Maybe that's why he's such a big underdog. They're just expecting this guy to get taken down, controlled. Farid's the pick. I wouldn't fucking touch it though. 4-1, that's craziness. But Kennedy Nzechukwu at 5-1. I'm gonna bet him. I'd bet the money line too. 5-1 though is wide. It is dangerous at a point. But you look at Chris Barnett, his last 5, he's been win, loss, win, loss, win. What's next? You know what it is. It's a loss. This guy is not UFC caliber anymore. He's entertaining. He's there for the fans. He's simply a showboat. He's there to simply showboat for you and me. That's fun and all, but he beat Jay Collier. He beat Jan Vellante. Ben Rothwell submitted this guy with a guillotine choke, and I can see that same guillotine happening here. Kennedy Nzechukwu has a wicked guillotine, and he submitted Devin Clark with that standing guillotine. He didn't even have to get the fight to the ground. He can get that guillotine standing, which could happen in this fight. That was his last win. He lost his last 2. He's due for the win. He's moving up to heavyweight, where maybe at 205 he was having a tough time cutting weight and feeling good on fight day. He should feel great. A little bit fatter here. Have a little bit more speed than Chris Barnett. He's a former 205er. He will be the lighter fighter, the quicker fighter. 6'5", he's the taller fighter. 83-inch reach. Holy cow. Chris Barnett, buddy, why did you sign up for this? This is simply the last of him. I have his card here. Out of 79, Chris Barnett, rated rookie. But his career is coming to an end here tonight. On Saturday night, because I don't see him surviving. Not 15 minutes with Kennedy Nzechukwu. Buddy has a huge reach. Way taller. Way faster. He has submissions, where I do think it would be worth to sprinkle down on that. The guillotine is very live. Chris Barnett has been in a position before. It was actually against Jay Collier in his last fight. He nearly got fucking submitted. I would take the submission prop on Kennedy Nzechukwu. He could win a decision and play it smart, because of this crazy old Chris Barnett boy. In his last bout, potentially 38 years old, had a lot of stuff go down back in Tampa there not long ago as to why he had to pull out of his fight. Kennedy Nzechukwu was supposed to fight 2 different guys on this fight card. It wasn't even supposed to be Chris Barnett. So with that implications, change of opponents, midweek, it's kind of weird, but the African Savage should be weird enough to get this one done. He's a different type of fighter. He loses some fights that you're like, come on, bro. Ovin St. Preux, split decision. I understand that. How are you going to pick him as a 5-1 favorite here? But look at Dayan Kutalaba win. Round 2, the knees and the punches there. Carl Robertson doing what he's supposed to do. Elbows from back mounts, looking dominant. The standing guillotine in round 2 to Devin Clark. He's getting the job done. He's finding the finish. His last 3 wins, his last 5 wins, all by finish. Now, in 2021, he knocked out Carlos Olberg with those vicious hooks. African Savage is good. He lost the split decision to Nikolai Nagamaru, who was 11-1 at the time. Where the hell is he? Nikolai Nagamaru. I remember him. Where did he go? I'm going to look him up. He's 13-2 now. And his last fight was inside of the UFC 2022 versus Carlos Olberg. Knocked out in round 1. Hasn't woke up since. Nikolai. Says he's trained at Extreme Couture. Interesting. He's not a bad fighter. 13-2. Kennedy Nzechukwu 12-5. Lost 2 fights by knockout. Knocked out in the first round to Jacob Dustin Jacoby there. Anything can happen. He got knocked out to Da Won Jung with those elbows in round 1 as well. So he's been knocked out twice in round 1. I'd say Chris Barnett has 5 minutes of gas and about a, 2-minute window to get this KO, because African Savage is going to beat up on the big boy here, Chris Barnett, as this fight gets extended into the 2nd and 3rd round. 8 knockouts and only 1 submission win. So, interesting, because that submission could unfold. And that's how he won his last fight, by submission. He's normally knocking guys out. He has 3 decision wins, but submission could unfold in this fight. But he was supposed to fight Rodrigo de Lima, and then he was supposed to fight Justin Tafa. Now he's fighting Chris Barnett. So the matchups kept getting easier and easier for Kennedy Nzechukwu as to why he is a 5-1 favorite. It's not one you have to overthink. He is way too quick in this fight. Chris Barnett ain't quick. He was in a submission versus Jay Collier in which I didn't think he was getting out of. I thought he was going to tap or go to sleep. And that could happen in this fight, although Kennedy Nzechukwu has 1 submission win. Maybe just playing by finish inside the distance. We want to be safe, we want to be smart, and we want to be sharp, as we have been the last couple weeks. So let's see what we can do. Play it smart, play it sharp, probably inside the distance. But like I said, we know how to make profit. Now, when you're looking to make profit, you make educated bets. You gamble a little. We're gambling men and women. Maybe Kennedy Nzechukwu by a submission does make it to your slip of bets on Saturday night. So let me know if you like that one or not. I think I might add it to mine here. I might do that. It's a good one. And the next fight is Abus Magomedov and Bruno Ferreira. Bruno, he's training at Brazilian TKO. And these boys, I just don't know if the gym is good or these boys are frauds. They train hard. I've seen them training. They train hard. Their hands are quick and powerful. And he has a questionable cardio is the only problem, because Abus Magomedov has a good cardio, but his chin is questionable. Now, I don't really know if I should fade the cardio of Bruno or the chin of Abus. So it's a coin flip. And you're getting Bruno Ferreira as a pretty big underdog, with a lot of people on Tapology picking him to win. It concerns me. It's kind of like the public underdog here, potentially. And I don't like that at all. I don't even see the price moving on Bruno Ferreira. I don't know why. He's not the favorite. But Abus, he has a cardio. He can grapple a little bit. But I don't know how he survives the big, powerful looping shots of Bruno Ferreira. The looping shots are still powerful. He has spinning elbows. He knocked out RoboCop with a counter left punch as well. He's only showing up and showing out since he's entered. Although he's beaten guys like Phil Hawes and Dustin Stolfus, he is still getting it done the way he is supposed to. A lot of his wins in round 1 looking dominant. People cannot get past that power. And you look at Abus, he's been knocked out to Sean Strickland, of all people, a decision dominator. And then he almost got dropped to Caio Brahalo, a grappler of all people. So, I mean, he's been dropped and knocked out before. He got knocked out in the PFL to a guy that I don't even want to say his name, because you cannot be getting knocked out to that level of competition and be opening up as a favorite in this fight versus a knockout artist with a lot of round 1 finishes. The Hulk is the pick. The Hulk could be the dog of the week, and this is simply a fade on the chin of Abus Magomedov. It's me calling him a fucking fraud. He's got knocked out before that Sean Strickland fight, and I'm not sure if everyone's forgetting that Abus Magomedov is 2-2 in the UFC, and Bruno Ferreira is 3-1. Beating guys like RoboCop, Phil Haas. Abus Magomedov beat Dustin Stolfus as well, and Warlley Alves 14-7. Warlley Alves was 14-7, couldn't even finish him 5 months ago. Come on, man. Fuck this favorite, Abus. 26-6? He sucks. He sucks. He can get knocked out easily. Easily. How is this guy the underdog? Next fight, Another potential coin flip fight here between Myktybek Orolbai and Mateusz Rebecki. 19-2 Rebecki versus 13-1-1 Orolbai is really going to set up for a good fight. Rebecki coming off a loss there where he got pieced up on the feet. You know, he had 2 black eyes. He was going to the hospital after that fight. But I don't think Myktybek Orolbai's striking is overly impressive. I don't think he can go out there and do the same thing. But what he can do is implement his wrestling and his control time to win this fight by a decision. Maybe looking for another neck crank submission choke the same way he beat Medic in his debut, where he came out of the cave and showed everybody he can not only beat guys that are 18 and 14 and 10 and 7, he can beat guys like fucking Medic 9 and 1. He can beat Elves Brenner 16 and 3. Unanimously. This guy is decent for just coming out of a cave at 26 years old. I mean, he's from the same place as Valentina Shevchenko, Kyrgyzstan. Don't even know how to say that place, but he's a specimen, and he's looking pretty good right now. Pretty big favorite, though. The books really aren't respecting Rebecki after that big loss, but Rebesti is his nickname. He ain't that bad. He's 19-2. He can win fights. He beat Nick Fior by a decision. Not the most impressive win, but he had a nice counter left to Loic Radstabov 17-4. And he had a nice armbar win to Roosevelt Roberts 12-3. But, I mean, I still think Myktybek Orolbai is the better fighter, can implement his game plan better in this fight. Has the, momentum in his corner right now. I feel like he's pretty confident in his abilities. He's not afraid to get hit. He can wear a shot if he has to. And Rebecki, I feel like he might be a little bit intimidated in there. He might be a little bit afraid to get hit. And he's going to be scrambling in this fight. He's not going to look comfortable. And that's my prediction. A little bit wide, but I think the books have the right favorite in this fight here. Myktybek Orolbai. Is he a parlay piece? I don't think so. I think Myktybek Orolbai is a guy we still need to learn a lot about. We don't know a whole lot about this kind of guy here. 19-2 Mateusz Rebecki as a $3 underdog is almost intriguing because I am very low confident on this pick. Like 0 confidence in Orolbai to win. So Orolbai. I ain't betting on him. I can't predict this fight any longer because I have no clue what's going to happen. The biggest advantage for this caveman is his 8-inch reach advantage, which he should implement on top of his wrestling and control time. He implements the game plan and he gets it done. But if his game plan is to stand there and do nothing, he ain't winning. Because this is a fist fight. Mateusz Rebecki is no bitch. And I think a lot of people think he is. But I still don't think he is. He's 19-2. He's very good. And he's only looked promising since entering the UFC. He had a submission win to a guy 12-2 on the Contender Series. So, I mean, Medic, a striker, got submitted. I mean, how good is Orolbai? He knocked out a guy 18-4 prior to the UFC and the LFA. He knocked out a guy 10-7. But is he that good? He beat Jalen Fuller 6-1 by a decision. Okay, he beat Elves Brenner by a decision. We'll see what the future brings for these two fighters. But I'm telling you right now, I have no confidence. And I have a tough time seeing this fight clearly. Anything can happen. Because I'm low confidence in Orolbai, I could be forced into a Rebecki pick, even though I'm picking against him. Orolbai should win, but it is not a confident pick, and it is not even a bet. It definitely 100% won't be a bet. Believe you and me. We're on to the next prelim fight, the prelim headliner. And this card is cooking up. We're on a heater as well. And we got 2 boys. Pretty old in their career. Geof Neall, 34. And Raffael dos Anjos, 40 years old. And, they're both not looking very good, but I do think Geof Neall can stop the takedowns because he did against Shavkat Rakhmonov. And he took Ian Gary to a split decision, showing that he still has power in those hands. Hands of steel Neal. He still has power in those hands. He can still strike, and I think he can still win at this UFC level. At welterweight, 170. You look at Raffael dos Anjos, he's fighting at 155. And before that, he was jumping to 170, losing to Vicente Luque. And then before that, he beats Bryan Barberena by a submission, rear naked choke, impressive win. But it's Bryan Barberena, 18-8. Obviously, you're going to beat a guy like that. He was knocked out pretty bad to Raffael when they fought 2 years ago. Hasn't been the same since. RDA comes up short as of late, but he's a former champion. He's a former veteran of the game. Former champion. Geoff Neal is just better right now. Right now, where these two fighters are at, Geoff Neal's better. He's a big favorite, and he took Ian Gary to a split decision. He never got taken down to Shavkat Rakhmonov. He's fighting the much higher caliber competition. He just knocked out Vicente Luque in his last win. Knocked him out. Knocked that boy clean out. He's probably getting the knockout in this fight. If he doesn't, he wins it by a decision. Geoff Neal, hands of steel, is the pick. And I'm pretty confident in that. He's training at Fortis MMA. They have a great game plan to get the win. Coming off 2 losses. RDA coming off 2 losses. You know one of them is getting the favored matchup to get back in the win column, to keep the contract in the UFC. I gotta think it's Geoff Neal keeping the contract inside of the organization, and RDA is hanging them up. That's the pick, and that is the prelims in Abu Dhabi. Now we're on to the main card predictions, but first, I'm going out to the shed. I'm going to pause the video and then start recording again after I have a big hoot session, a couple hits from the bong, and I'll do the main card picks after I get a little Cheech on, a little Cheech and Chong Shong, little Cheech and Chong sesh. I'll be right back. So everybody else, pause the video, have a nice puff from the blunt, puff of the old joint, go hit the bong, rip a energy drink, some liquid courage, Pink Whitney too. This is pink lemonade, Ghost. Seen it today in the store and I was like, holy shit, new kind, haven't seen that before. I'm going to be drinking some Pink Whitney here on Friday, Saturday. A little pre-fight action Friday, Saturday. We'll get into her. And we're going to mix it with this stuff here. Pink lemonade, Ghost. Sour pink lemonade, Ghost. Oh, wow. That shit's good. Halloween season. Come on now. It's Glowberry Prime. It's new. Seen it in the store today, and I was like, holy shit. Ain't that something? I'm going to try that out. Yeah. Tastes like a glow stick. It's fucking cool. Unreal. And we are back for the main card. Hopefully everyone's ready to go. All right. Shara, Putin, Magomedov, the Bullet, the Pirate, the guy with one eye, versus Armen Petrosyan. 8-3 Armen. Armen got knocked out before. Now everybody needs to know this because they think Shara Bullet has no power. He has power. He has knockouts. He has a lot of finishing capabilities. Armen Petrosyan was knocked out to a guy who is like 8-5 now. This was in 2021, not too long ago. It was in the first round, and I looked back and watched the fight, and he got smoked. Now, since that fight, he beat a guy 10-0 with a head kick in round 1. Split decision win with Gregory Rodriguez in his debut. Lost a unanimous decision to Kyle Berhalo. A decision win to Christian Leroy Duncan and AJ Dobson. And then got submitted in round 1 to Rodolfo Vieira. Now the difference between the win with Christian Leroy Duncan and AJ Dobson is going to be he can't just go out there and be a clean kickboxer because Shara Magomedov is a very good striker. And this fight likely doesn't hit the ground because the weakness for Petrosyan is the ground game. He gets taken down. His other weakness is he can get sparked in round 1. Because this guy, Hassan Yousefi, is not good. Look at his record right now. And he beat Armen Petrosyan in round 1. He's 8-5. Come on. Shara Bullet, the Pirate, has power. Now, he's been taking on a movie role. I do know that. He might not be fully into training. He might not be training that hard, head focused in the game, but I would suspect that he is fully focused to get the win, and nothing changes in this fight. He punches quick. He throws a ton of punches, high accuracy. He'll have the volume on the scorecards. He'll have the accurate strikes. He'll have the damage done. If it goes 15 and he can't get the knockout, he'll get the win. And it's a pretty confident pick. He's 14-0 undefeated. He can't fight anywhere else other than Saudi Arabia and Abu Dhabi. So they give him a fight. The main card fight, the first fight on the main card to help sell the pay-per-view, to help bring the fans in. And he gets the win. He looks dominant on the feet as he did against Michael Nzechukwu, as he did against Bruno Silva. Now, he had moments in the fight where he could have got the finish, but he won the fight by a decision, showing that he does have good cardio. He can go 15 minutes or 5 minutes. Magomedov wins every second of this fight against Armen Petrosian, 8-3. Knocked out to a guy 8-5 in 2021. That was only 3 years ago. Not too long ago. Now he's potentially looking for the takedowns and control time, but I do know Magomedov has a good enough takedown defense. From what we have seen in his last couple fights, it ain't even that bad. He ain't that big of a favorite. I think he flies in this fight, and it's going to be an entertaining one. So do not miss the first fight of the night, and do not think I am just too baked and too stoned to do these predictions sharply. Because we got another big favorite next, and people are thinking, oh, he's too big of a favorite. Ankalev ruined his chance to be a champion already. Well, I think he beat Jan Blachowicz and they robbed him. Made it a draw. I thought he won the fight. He had the takedowns, control time. So since we're not scoring takedowns and control time, he lost the fight. He was given a draw. A majority draw. Not even a loss. It was a draw. He should have won. Blachowicz said he should have won. But that's all cool. You know, he means business. You think he lost to Johnny Walker. Now, come on. That was a illegal strike. He went out there and knocked out Johnny Walker in the next fight. He has 50% wins by knockout, and he has 50% by a decision. His wrestling is way better than Rakic, and Rakic got knocked out in his last 2 fights. Alexander Rakic, 14-4, at one point maybe was a threat in the division at 205, but fuck, right now, what is he doing? He got knocked out to fucking Yuri Prohaska in his last fight, where he dominated round 1 and then just dropped the bag, gave up, blew it. Do I think he'll beat Ankalev in Abu Dhabi with all these Russian fans there supporting Ankalev? They're not supporting Rakic. He could win. He beat Thiago Santos in his last win, 2021, by a decision. Before that, he beat Anthony Smith by a decision. Where are his knockout wins? He knocked out a guy 17-5 in round 1 with a head kick in 2019, and he knocked out a guy, Devin Clark, is that guy, in round 1 in 2018. Since then, he's never knocked out anyone. You gotta be pretty sharp when you know. You know. He's a 4-1 favorite. You don't fade that, for one. The big favorites last week, they lost. But just because last week didn't work out, the 4-1, 5-1 favorites did not win. Does not mean this week it's gonna happen again. I see him getting the knockout in this fight. He has clean striking. Crisp and clean down the middle. He has a better leg kick than Alexander Rakic. He can set up his boxing with those leg kicks, and he's so precise, in my opinion. He will make Rakic pay, and it'll be a devastating knockout. He knocked out Anthony Smith with the ground and pound, and he knocked out Johnny Walker with the right hook and uppercut. Devastating wins. He has devastating power, clean technique, higher IQ, more durable fighter, minus 400 heavy favorite, little bit sketchy, but hey, he's got to get the win. He's got to get the dub in Abu Dhabi. So be smart with your money. Now, some of these big favorites like Farid Basharat, I'm not too confident in. Some of them on the last couple fight nights I was a little worried about. But this guy here, Ankalev, I don't see him losing. I do see him making a run for the title very soon. People don't think he's deserving of it. Well, just you wait. He's going to make himself deserving of a title shot. That's my forecast. He gets the finish. Rakic's been knocked out in his last 2 fights. It's 15 minutes. That is enough time for Ankalev to land a clean shot and put it on Rakic. Now, if he does not put it on Rakic and knock him out, get him out of there, and just he's boring, gets a decision win, then maybe he doesn't deserve a title shot. But let me tell you, I think he's going out there and delivering a knockout shot. Let's go, Ankalev. People are counting you out. People don't see you as a rightful contender. People don't think you are good. I think he's very good. So, some people look at this and say, hey, Rakic's too big of an underdog. I'm picking him to win. He has a really good chance to win. I don't know what you're seeing. He knocked out Devin Clark in 2019. Do your research. Seriously. Lerone Murphy and Dan Ige next. This is one of the closest fights on the card. Lerone Murphy is 14-0, but he is a high confidence pick for me against Dan Ige. Dan Ige can find a way to lose. He can get taken down. He can get outstruck. He is tough, durable. He'll fight for your money. He'll show up when he wants, whenever he wants. Like he did on short notice, hours notice, to Diego Lopez. Then he won the 3rd round. He looked good. He could bring that 3rd round momentum into this fight and win the fight. Seriously, he could. He has experience. He has good wins. He has knockout power. His check right hook and his punches and bunches in general could sleep Lerone Murphy. But Lerone Murphy has battled through adversity. He's won close fights by split decision to undefeated fighters. He beat Joshua Coulibaly cleanly. He beat Edson Barboza in his last fight 5 months ago pretty cleanly, 25 minutes long. He has the cardio. He has the tools in the bag to win this fight. And he has a very good fighter's instinct. His instinct to kill is there. He might not be getting the finish wins, but he is dangerous. He knocked out Amakwan Amirkhani. He's not finishing the more higher caliber fighters, in my opinion, which is why Dan 50K Ige is potentially live. He'll fight like a dog. He is a good fighter. Both these fighters are the same age, and Dan Ige has a higher caliber experience, in my opinion. But this is potentially a spot where Lerone Murphy can just continue his success, undefeated, a bunch of momentum, and he has a lot of tools in the bag to win. He can get the takedowns. He can get the control time. He is the smarter fighter. I expect him to show up and show out. But there is a world in which Dan Ige gets it done. So I'm not parlaying Lerone Murphy out the ass. But I am picking him to win with pretty high confidence, and I can't wait for this fight. And the next fight is the co-main event of the evening. Robert the Reaper Whittaker and Khamzat Bors Chimaev. Another undefeated fighter. We have a lot of undefeated fighters on this card now. Khamzat, is he going to lose? Is he finally going to lose? Well, is Lerone Murphy finally going to lose? Is Shara Magomedov finally going to lose? Anywho, there's a lot of undefeated fighters on this card, and Khamzat is probably one that I'm the most confident in to win. Although this is a tough matchup, and I'm going to tell you why. Robert Whittaker, he was submitted once, way, way, way back. But you look at it, and he hasn't really fought any grapplers like Khamzat since. And he got submitted in round 1. He has improved his wrestling. He's had a big career where you can't sit here and say that submission is going to happen again. But there is a world that I do see Khamzat getting the submission win. He likes to get the submission. That's where he thrives. He has the most success on the ground. He gets dominant takedowns, and he makes people pay. Whittaker, he can win this fight in round 4 and 5 if it goes there. In Chimaev's last fight, he almost lost to Kamaru Usman, majority decision. Another 2 rounds he could have lost, but he was tested. He was tested versus Gilbert Burns, and he's dominated everybody else. Darce choked to Kevin Holland, round 1. Li Jingliang picked him up, threw him down, carried him around the octagon. He's looking like a different fighter. But at 170, at 185, he had to fight Usman, who was a 170 his entire career. He's never really fought anybody at 185. Gilbert Burns is another 170 welterweight fighter. So this is his first fighter, officially, at 185. That is super high caliber and has been around the middleweight division for a while, fought the who's who. This could be the fight that Khamzat just fucks up. I can't be honest and tell you he's been training hard, because you never know with this guy, but it looks like he's been training hard. He walks the talk, and he talks like he wants to walk and win. I gotta trust in him. He's one of my favorite fighters. He was when he was active. He's starting to be active again. I gotta trust in this guy. He's a different breed of fighter. He's relentless with the takedowns. And Dricus was able to knock out Whittaker eventually in that fight, round 2, I think it was. He got knocked out to Israel Adesanya in round 2, Robert Whittaker. He's been finished. He's been submitted before, so it's not like he cannot get finished. He won his last 2 fights, but Paulo Costa, at the end of round 2, nearly finished Robert Whittaker. So Robert Whittaker has had his moments, and he can be finished. He's one of my favorite fighters as well. He's had a great career. He's 33. He's not that old yet. Only 3 years older than Khamzat. Has way more experience, coming off a big win as a slight favorite to Ikram Aliskerov, where I thought Ikram was a lock-in play. I was terribly wrong. But Khamzat did smoke Ikram Aliskerov and made it look easy. That was Ikram's only loss up until that point. Whittaker made easy work of him as well. So this is a good matchup here. Anything can happen. I don't think I'm going to lock in Khamzat, but I am picking him with high confidence. I think he can pass the test. I think he can grapple in this fight. I think he can get takedowns eventually. Probably the 3rd or 4th takedown he makes Whittaker pay. And it's really hard to get Khamzat off your back once he's there. His control, his hooks are in, and it's nearly game over. So I think the submission will occur at some point. It's 25 minutes, and this is the real future of the division potentially. Khamzat Chimaev, if he can finish Robert Whittaker, and if he can show up like I know he can, he is going to be a problem in this division. He is probably one of the best fighters that some people have seen in a while, and Whittaker has one thing coming his way, and it's not a win. I'm sorry, it's not his time. He won his last 2 fights, but now it's time to take a loss. He's already fought for the belt. He wasn't that guy. This is a chance, undefeated fighter, to prove he is that guy. He wants this fight more than anything. I know he does. And I'm picking Khamzat with high confidence, trusting in Boers to get the win here in Abu Dhabi, where he's been training. And I guess he wants that to be his nationality now. So he likes Abu Dhabi. He gets the fight in Abu Dhabi. Big fight. You got to think this guy's ready to go. Been missing weight. He's been a little bit tough to deal with for the business. But if he can make 185 as he should, as he will, and pass the test versus a very good Robert Whittaker, you got to trust in me. This guy could be the champion someday. He is probably better than Dricus du Plessis. And I cannot wait for this fight. Because Khamzat might not even show up. It could be Robert Whittaker's time still. The Reaper is 33, only 3 years older, and he has won his last 2 fights. Paulo Costa, Ikram Aliskerov. So we cannot count out Robert the Reaper Whittaker. He is good, and he is more experienced in this fight. You gotta love mixed martial arts. This is why we tune in each and every week, because we have a favorite that we really like. We can't just go put a bunch of money on him. He's proven that he could potentially lose this fight against Kamaru Usman. I don't know how confident I'd be in Khamzat in this fight to lay heavy money. But I will sit here and predict him with high confidence and hope it hits, because this is not a lock of the week. This is a prediction show. If you want to see my bets, my locks of the week, my forecast forensic, each and every pick with the confidence level method of victory, it's $5 a month for each and every event. So join for $5 a month. Help support the channel. F34L, we're getting after it, and we're going to be smart taking Khamzat Chimaev in this fight. But we're going to find out how smart that is on Saturday night. Everybody tune in, and we're going to find out. Respect to everybody taking Robert Whittaker. I understand what you're trying to do here. I've made some other picks before that. I'm just chasing the value. And I'm not going to lie, at these odds, Robert Whittaker could be worth a shot. He is experienced. He is a good fighter, and he is no joke for Khamzat. But I think Khamzat passes the test and gets it done by a submission in this fight. Probably round 2 or 3. Doesn't take him too long. Official prediction, I'd say round 2. Robert Whittaker got knocked out to Israel Adesanya and Dricus du Plessis both in round 2. He's showing that he can get submitted, and that was in round 1 a long time ago. But let's say round 2 submission for Khamzat Chimaev. And now the main event of the evening. Now this is another tough fight to pick. Not really. Not at all. But it's tough to pick against Max Holloway, everybody's favorite fighter, all right? We all seen what he did in his last fight. Last second of the last round. Knocks out Justin Gaethje. What a fucking badass. This is the baddest motherfucker in the world. Max Holloway. He is legit. He's fought Volkanovski multiple times for the title. Came up short. I feel like he's going to come up short again to Ilia Topuria. The higher IQ fighter, the more technical fighter, the guy that has the more well-rounded skill set, can take it to the ground and grapple, could get a submission, could even wear down Max Holloway to the point where he gets knocked out for the first time ever. Because Topuria hits different. He hits hard, and he's technical with it. He can go body to head, he mixes it up, and keeps people thinking. His leg kicks, his takedowns. He can use whatever he wants and have success. I think he is that kind of next level fighter we've all been waiting for. And he's going to take the throne over for a while, because Volkanovski had it for a while and he put Volkanovski out. Volkanovski did get knocked out to Makhachev not long before that, but right hook, technical, clean, crisp boxing from Ilia Topuria got it done. His power was on point. And Josh Emmett, he picked him apart. Bryce Mitchell didn't last too long. He got submitted to Ilia Topuria. He struggled a lot. And that was a fight where Bryce Mitchell never lost. He's never suffered defeat. And he got dominated. He got mopped. Like, El Matador is knocking on the door for a win here versus Max Bless Holloway. El Matador is that dude. He has the power and the grappling, and it is a tough matchup for Max Holloway. It is just a tough matchup, coming off a win where it was at 155, up a weight class. He looked good. He looked like he was en route to a decision before that final buzzer knockout punch. But he was looking good. He was looking dominant, which makes me think anything can happen. 15-0 Ilia Topuria should get it done. He is the champion. He should keep the throne for a while. With the tools in his bag, he can pick and choose what he wants to do to get this win, and I don't think he struggles too much. But Max Holloway, what a fight in his last fight. From start to finish, he was a much better fighter than Justin Gaethje, who is a very good fighter with a ton of experience, coming off a big win to Dustin Poirier. You know, this was up a weight class. They're giving Max Holloway, the bad motherfucker, the title shot now. But I just think he's coming up short again. A decision win for Ilia Topuria. He likely can't knock out Max Holloway. He likely can't submit Max Holloway. He could. He could do both. He could do either or. But the most likely situation, in my opinion, Ilia Topuria, and still by a decision, gets it done here. And maybe Max wins round 1 and 2. Maybe just round 2. But Ilia is going to take over in round 3, 4, 5, have the better cardio, push harder for the win here, and get it done. Max Holloway has been coming up short. He is blessed. Wish him the best, but I don't think he's getting it done. 5 years older. He's been here before and could not get it done. Ilia Topuria, El Matador, looks like that next type of dude that's ready to take over this division. If you disagree, that's completely fine, because I am not. And I am not betting against Max Holloway too much. Not too much. And I am not parlaying Ilia Topuria heavily. So I'm being smart. I'm being sharp. I'm not sitting here too stoned, too out of it. I respect Max Holloway, but I am not sitting here and predicting him to win this fight. I'm going with another favorite in the main event, and still, Ilia Topuria. He is a specimen. He did get tested, though, to Jai Herbert, but he battled through it, got the body shot with the right hook, and slept his ass. He has power like I have never seen before. He is talking the talk, and now it's time for him to walk the walk. Let's see if he can do it. I think he can. He's looking like that type of dude. El Matador gets it done here. Not much more to talk about. I see a lot of people kind of split on this pick here. 60% on Ilia Topuria, but I'll tell you what. The line movement tracker had heavy money come in on Ilia Topuria. The line dropped heavily since the opening odds. Someone's on to it. Someone knows Ilia Topuria is getting it done here, and Tapology pickers and cappers are just a little bit scared. They're not overly confident in themselves, in their research. But I've seen both these guys fight their last couple fights, and I know how to expect this fight to finish. Decision win, Ilia Topuria, and still, baby, let's go. That's for you, Loaf. Meatloaf, former co-host here, said Ilia Topuria was going to be the champion. Now look at this guy now. Look at him. Meatloaf predicting future champions, and he's not even around here anymore. Ilya's the champion now. And when we started doing the Fight Theme forecast, it was called the UFC forecast. Meatloaf said multiple times, Ilya is going to be champion. Look at him now. He's champion. Dude is champion. He beat Volkanovski. He beat Josh Emmett. He beat Bryce Mitchell. And he's passed the test when he's been battle tested. This guy can get it done here. He's the dude El Matador. And I gotta trust Loaf and his guy, his favorite fighter in the UFC. Not much more to talk about. You can fade the Fight Theme forecast. That is completely fine. But you might have to pay the consequences at the end of the night. That's all I'm saying. If you want to disagree, if you want to be like Babar, if you want to be like Tristan, that's cool. But I'm not giving out the locks, okay? I have a lot of high confidence picks on this card. A lot of fights that I respect the opposing fighter and I don't want to lock against them, so I will be smart, I will be sharp, and I will get fucking paid. At UFC 308 in Abu Dhabi, we're going to collect those bags. We're going to have a big, profitable night, in my opinion. I'm feeling very confident. I'm rocking the Gucci mink. Sorry I'm late, but I just don't give a fuck. I'm ready to go. $5 a month if you want to see the picks early that have been out there since Monday. Picks have been out there since Monday for the Platinum Forecasters. For the fiends that pay me $5 a month. They have seen the picks since Monday. With the confidence levels, method of victories, forecast forensic versus implied probability, and the line movement tracker. They've seen the money come in heavily on Ilia Topuria. And they're wondering why 60% of people on Tapology have him to win. They're like, what are they doing? Alright, they're sharp. Platinum forecasters are sharp at this point. They're using the tools to their advantage, and they're getting paid. We're up 20 units off one event at the Apex. An Apex card, we made 20 units. What do you think we're going to do here? We're going to take it over. We are aiming to be the best that we can here at the Fight Theme forecast. And we've only seen improvements since day one, back in those Loaf days. So, let me tell you, we are very close to 1,000 subscribers, and I am not stopping until we continue the success, till we reach the top. I want to be the best of the best. I've been showing you that I have an edge. But, I'm sorry, this week the locks are locked up. $5 a month on Patreon. Hit the link in bio below. And I'm sorry, I'm not telling you if I have an edge on each and any fight. I'm not telling you if I have an edge on any fights. Because the forecast forensic is only $5 a month for each and every event. You can see my forecasted percentage versus the implied probability, and then you'll know if we have an edge on a fight or not. And you'll know if you should stay away from a fight or not. So for $5 a month, what are you doing? Are you getting paid or not?
Levels to this fucking game. Go get an orange juice or an apple juice.